As you know, Jenny Durkin is not going to run again for Seattle mayor, so some candidates are starting to throw their hat in the ring, and one of them is a former Coug, a former Seattle Supersonic, played in the NBA for 16 seasons. James Donaldson joins us here on the Dori Monson Show. James, it's good to talk to you again.
Dori, it is so great to talk to you. I reached out to you a couple of times this summer during our Summer of Love, and wasn't quite able to get on your show then, but I've been working on this since then.
Well, and I've always had a fond place in my heart for you, and I maybe have told you this before, but when I was an 18-year-old kid covering the Sonics for an Everett radio station, that was your rookie year, 1980, right? 80?
That's right, 1980,
yeah. Yes, that was your rookie year. And, James, you were my go-to guy. You didn't know me from Adam. I'm sure you don't remember anything of those days. No. But you were my go-to guy because you treated an 18-year-old kid who's obviously very green the same way that you treated the very professionally seasoned beat guys, and I always appreciated that about you.
Well, thank you very much. And that's just my nature. You know, I do respect everyone. You're trying to do your job. I want to make your job easy as possible and contribute what I can. So, whether you're a young 18-year-old Dori Monson or an established vet like Wayne Cody. Remember Wayne back then?
Yes, I do. Everybody remembers Wayne. Yeah. Well, I want to talk about what you want to do as mayor of Seattle, but I know that there's another issue that you're passionate about, and it seems to me your life experience might really help you as mayor of Seattle. But you've been very open over the years, James, about battling with mental health issues, and I know that that's a cause and an issue that you don't want in the shadows, and it's something you want out there. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't want to, suffer in silence, and I want to use my platform I have as a former professional athlete, a community leader, long business owner here in Seattle, as a platform to speak out, and especially as a man of color, African American man, where in our communities of color, mental health issues are so taboo and so stigmatized, we don't dare talk about it. I want to dare talk about it and let people know that, hey, this happened to me. It can happen to anybody at any time in your life. You just don't know. And that's why I was being so open about this over the last 3 or 4 years, especially. I just published a book about it in January, and it's out and doing very well, helping people with what they're going through. And that's really something I'm very, very passionate about. I set up a nonprofit foundation that gives me a platform to speak from and for people to contact me and share their stories, and I can refer them off to other resources that really can actually help them. So mental health is one of those things that affects everybody.
Yeah,
experts
absolutely.
say 2 out of 5 of us are going to suffer some serious mental health challenge sometime in our life.
Well, and I'll tell you something else. Right now, we just got updated stats on what is happening to our children as they sit at home. And I talked to a girl yesterday who had a 13-year-old girl on my show who had contemplated taking her own life because she had just moved to a new school. She had no friends in this new city, and she was hoping to go to school and make friends, and she just sits in her room all day, every day, and things were getting darker and darker for her. And it's heartbreaking to hear these stories with our kids. How bad did things get for you, James?
It took me right to the verge of wanting to take my life, to the point where I actually had planned it. I had 3 different methods I was going to execute whenever I was ready. And that impulsive voice was coming over me and telling me, hey, James, you got your plan laid out. Just go ahead and do it. Get it over with. And that was the scariest part that I've ever been through in my life. I don't want anybody to get to that point. A lot of people have attempted suicide. I didn't attempt it. I had it all laid out, and my doctor diagnosed me with anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideations, all 3 of those. And that was the first step to recovery, reaching out to a medical professional who can put me on prescription medication, prescribed behavioral health counseling, and I pulled together myself a small, intimate group around me, which included two of our favorite guys, Coach Lenny Wilkins and Coach George Raveling. Those two guys were like crutches on either side of me and helped me through this thing.
I remember, I think you told me a few years ago that some of those medical professionals, they made sure you didn't have a gun in the house, you didn't have pills in the house, but you said you were walking through your garage, you saw a rope, and you saw some rafters, and that's what
right.
went through your mind, right?
That's exactly that was my most frequent vision of how I was going to end my life. And my doctor said, "Hey, get rid of that rope right away." I took it down. I gave it to a dear, trusted friend of mine. I had a long coil of tubing up there, also rubber tubing, about 3 or 4 inches diameter, which I was going to connect to my exhaust in my car and snake it through the window and sit in there. I took that down and gave it to my friend as well. You have to get rid of those things, because when you're in that impulsive mindset, this little voice is just telling you, you have to get rid of all of those things that can possibly harm you or somebody else.
So now you're on the road, and I know it's a journey when you're recovering from those mental health challenges. You ran for mayor of Seattle in 2009. You finished 4th out of 8. Now you're running again. The city's gotten much crazier since 2009, James, and there's a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is all the mentally ill people on the streets and all the drug addiction and all of that. I mean, so it strikes me, because I know how intelligent you are, that if you take your life experience with your innate intelligence, maybe you could find a pathway for one of the worst problems plaguing our city.
I really think so. You know what? When I ran in 2009, I had a nice little resume. I was a former professional athlete, long-time Seattle person, business person. And that was about it, clean cut, straight guy and doing all the right things. Now I come back at you after going through 4 major surgical procedures in 5 years, 3 of them on my heart, 1 of them on my right lung, bankruptcy, foreclosure, near eviction, financial ruin. I spent all my life savings of NBA savings into my business, my Donaldson Clinic, to try to keep it going as long as I possibly could. Finally had to pull the plug on that in February 2018 during the very darkest time of my depression I was going through. And so I have life experiences now that resonate with everybody out there that's going through a very difficult time right now. Whether you're facing foreclosure and eviction, whether you've had medical emergencies, whether you have financial ruin, I know what that's all about. I've been through that. I worked my way through that. And I want to reassure everybody out there, I'm totally back to my old self again, stable as a rock, solid as a rock, and feeling great and much better off for going through those things.
So you've made this incredible battle to get back to where you are now. Why do you want this job? Because, man, James, it's going to be a nightmare for whoever's mayor to have to deal with this city council. What are you doing here, James?
Well, as in 2009, I couldn't sit idly by and watch our incumbent mayor, Greg Nichols, just kind of waltz into another term uncontested. I can't sit idly by and watch the city council and our incumbent mayor continue to take Seattle down this pathway, this degradation of, getting worse and worse and worse. I can't sit by. I don't want a extreme right-hand person or extreme left-hand or left-wing person jumping into this race, winning the race, and taking us in a different direction than we want to be. I'm straight down the middle. I work with both sides, both aisles. I work with everybody. I've been a 28-year business owner. I'm reading articles in the paper every day about our small business owners suffering. I know the suffering they're going through. I'm going to make sure this city steps up and uses all of its powers to keep our small businesses in business. Yeah. I know it's a thankless job. I know that. I know even if 51% of the people vote for me, 49% are going to hate me. I know that. But, hey, I've lived my life in this public sphere for 40 years. I'm used to the bar. Yes, I'm used to it.
Unlike a lot of politicians, I don't think the people who don't vote for you are going to hate you. You're a you're a really tough guy to hate, James. I know that.
Let's say they probably won't agree with me.
They won't agree with you. Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy, I address everyone's concerns. I listen to everyone. Everyone has a seat at the table and can have an audience with me. I want to listen. The problem with our past administration, our current administration, that's our incumbent mayor, is she didn't listen to everyone.
Yeah,
she listened to a small minority vocal voice and didn't go back and talk to the large non-vocal majority voice.
I got you. Okay. Hey, so
She didn't
last
talk
thing.
to them.
We're about out of time here. There's the question I ask all candidates who come on my show when they want to become mayor or governor or whatever, and then I check to see if they honor their word. Would you always pick up the phone if I call you, no matter how dicey the issue is, and confront it straight on with me?
You've got my word, Dori. I mean, that's the kind of guy I am. And in our general public, a lot of folks have my phone number. They call me, I pick it up. I don't let it go into voicemail. I say, hey, let's have a conversation. Let's meet at a coffee shop. I will always hold that with you.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'm very intrigued by your candidacy, James, and I'll look forward. Let's talk more as this thing moves forward, okay?
Thank you so much, and all the best to everyone. Battle back. It's better than ever.
And by the way, I was reviewing your career last night. Of all the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have played in the NBA, you are still in the top 20 for field goal percentage. That's incredible.
You know, I was an effective player. I stuck to what I did well. I didn't try to do things I couldn't do. No dribbling between the legs, no crossover dribbles, no three-pointers. You know.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm proud of that because that's the way it should be. We should know our strengths. We should recognize our weaknesses, work on those things to get better. And practice doesn't make perfect, but it makes awfully darn good.
As Dirty Harry said, a man's got to know his limitations.
That's right.
Just don't bite off too much. Hey, James, great talk to you. We'll stay in touch, okay?
All right. Thanks, Joy. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
you too. Thank you. James Donaldson, former Sonic, former Washington State Coug, had a 16-year All-Star, 1-year NBA career, and he's running for mayor. What do you think? Text me, 98973. That's 98973. Lots more to come here on the Dori Monson Show.